and I'll give you a thumbs up.
Hey everyone, how is everyone on our Wednesday night live here at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time? I'm Kate Tucker. Welcome to our Garrett and Kate show. And of course, we have Garrett with us tonight from IDC Woodcraft. So, welcome everyone. So, if you haven't noticed, you notice Garrett has a very different background tonight. You want to tell him where you are?
I am, and hello, all. Hello. I am in Las Vegas, Nevada. The AWFS show is going on right now, and so I decided a couple of days ago that I was going to go to it. And so yesterday, I got on the computer, booked my hotel, my flight, and by last night, I was here in Las Vegas and at the show today. And you know what's cool?
Pretty exciting.
Yeah, I've had several people come up to me and go, "Hi, Garrett. Hi, Garrett. Uh, who are you?" Having to look at their name badge real quick. And this is one big show. But I will talk about that in a little bit. I want to say hi to some people. Kate.
Yeah, let's go ahead and say hey. I see we've got some questions right off the bat. We will circle back to you. So I just want to say some quick hellos. I see we've got Richard, we've got Ellen back with us.
Hi, Ellen.
She's, she says it is very hot where she is. Um, I feel like it's hot just everywhere right now. Let's see, Oz is back. We've got Tim. So glad you're able to join us. We've got Jack's back. Boy, we've got just all kinds of good people popping in. We've got Brandon. He says, this is first time watching us live. Welcome.
Welcome, Brandon.
Yeah. We've got Michael. He's back from Boston. We've got Gary Lynn. Says Waterford, Michigan, checking in. So and then we've got
Michigan.
Wayne from Minnesota. We've got some good people. We've got Butch, Chris, Guy. Carolyn's back. Welcome back,
Hi,
sister.
Carolyn.
Doug, Dion. We've got some new people in here with us, but we're Jen's in here. Boy, we've got just a good group of folks in here tonight. So hopefully we can get your questions answered. And we're gonna do our very best. So you'll have to just want to preface this right up front. Garrett doesn't have his full audio set up, obviously, where he's at in his hotel, and I've got kind of control, but because of StreamYard and Garrett's the host, sometimes there's a lag in my Vectric. So if you have questions and I'm in Vectric, if you see that lag, that's why. So you'll just kind of have to let us know in the comments if you guys are getting, any lag.
Right. All right. Ready?
In this viewing.
Yeah. Yep. And okay. Well, very cool. And yeah, welcome from Las Vegas, Nevada. So before we dive into CNC questions, let me share a little bit about what I have at the show. Yesterday was the first day, and but today was my first day. And this place is phenomenally big as far as the show goes. If you've ever been to a convention center, you know they're huge. And one of the huge rooms in it is like full. And I've been walking around. I was talking to the guys at Shop Saber. I've been doing some interviews. Shop Saber with oh crap, Shop Bot, and the Red Machine. Lagoon, is it Laguna?
Laguna, yes.
I think it's Laguna. Very interesting conversation and machine that he has built. And of course, popped over to say hi to the Phantom guys, and I'll be going back to see them tomorrow and some other people.
Yeah.
Definitely, I got to say also thank you to Mad Dog. He shows up on the lives on occasion. He knew I was coming. He lives about an hour and a half away, so he showed up and he volunteered to be my cameraman today.
And oh my gosh, how cool is that?
Yeah, and he's going to show up tomorrow and do the same thing. So, this is the brotherhood of the CNC. And last week we did the live with Kyle, the guy who built the Vectric training course, and Kyle, I met him here today as well. So that was very cool as well. He pulled out a mug or like a thermal mug,
Mhm.
coffee drink mug, and he said, yeah, somebody knew I was coming, so they came to the show and they gave it to him, and they had engraved on it, "Learn your CNC."
Oh, that's so cool. I love our brother and sisterhood here. We have such a cool, we're such a big and vast group, but we're a very tight knit community because I feel like everybody kind of knows everybody. So it's really neat
It
to see at those
feels
conventions.
like, yeah, it feels like family, right? The convention
Yeah.
is not just CNC. There's a lot of like kitchen cabinetry and some offshoot stuff, so
Yeah.
there's quite a bit of variety here.
Yeah.
Definitely worthwhile to come check out. Very hot, very hot here.
Only
As you know,
imagine.
the southwest is, having a long dry spell and high temperatures.
Hmm.
So you step
They're
outside, you're
they're
hit
cooking.
by a wall of heat.
Ugh.
Yeah.
But is it? It's a dry heat out in Vegas, though. It's not
Oh
like here.
yes.
It's not like here in Indiana where it's just like 90, but it feels like 120 because the humidity. You just walk outside, and you just start like you're just wet.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. It's such dry heat. So, um, yeah. So it's been a very cool visit so far, and
Good.
grateful that I made the decision to come out here. I really wasn't going to do it, and
Yeah.
last minute I was like, I'm in a business. I've got to do business stuff, and if when we're in a
Yeah.
business, right, we sometimes. My mentor told me one time, some time ago, I was telling about a little fear I had in my of just moving forward in something, and he said after I talked to him a little bit, he said, "You're afraid of success." I said,
You've
"What?"
said that to me before.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
I had to think about it a lot because he said it's such an irrational thing. It's so hard for us to get, but yeah. So
Yeah.
maybe that
It is.
hesitation of coming out here was a little bit of fear of success. I know that this move is if I'm going to take IDC Woodcraft to the next level, right? I have to do things like this. I have to build up more relationships and contacts in business and what have you.
Yeah. Well,
So,
it sounds like I mean, day one, like you made lots of really great contacts. Three huge
oh,
big
absolutely.
companies. You met Kyle. You got Mad Dog out there. You got doing pretty good for your first day. And
Yeah,
I
yeah.
know I know Mike, my husband, when he went out there for their hydrovac company, they went out to Vegas, and he said he would do like at a minimum like 20,000 steps a day. Like it was just insane. He said his feet hurt so bad because they were just walking, like just back and forth. They had a booth, but so he was working doing that, but he was also like walking around, and he just said it was just absolutely insane. He was sending me like videos and pictures, and I was like, "Holy crap!" It's like Disneyland or something, or Disney World. It's like its own little like world.
Yeah, yeah. I wanted to do run my step counter on my phone, but I needed to conserve my battery for doing video and what have you. So
Yeah.
wasn't doing the step counter.
Ah, dang it.
Yeah.
Well,
So before we dive in, though, into questions, we need to start getting to that, right? Let's just let everyone know about um, the things that we have, right?
yep,
Which in Facebook, there's my camera lens. Facebook, there's a description above,
yep,
and that's got some information in it and some links. And then YouTube down below in the description, there are some
yep.
links there. So first of all, we'll talk about your Facebook group, Kate, and tell the women who are out there about your Facebook group.
Yeah, so we have our obviously a Facebook group of women are who CNC. Um, it is just a really great group of women. We are kind of bouncing ideas off of one another. It's just a really safe space for us to communicate in a way that just in a language that women speak. Sometimes we just kind of have to say, what is this, little black thingamabob over here? And it's a very judgment free zone, and it's a really great space. The group is growing. We actually have 200 women. I have to make a post in the group. I'm so excited. I did kind of like a little happy dance when we hit 200 women. I know that sounds like a relatively small number, but I will say I have almost personally reached out to almost every lady that's been a part of that group and helped them in some way. So I feel like, that's 200 people that we've touched, we've helped them along the way, or gotten that CNC out of the box and moving forward. So I'm really proud that we have our 200 women, and they are some remarkable women, and I'm just thrilled to have each one of them. So that's
right.
my little story. Sorry, I had to share.
Great. Yay, yay. What a milestone. You know, when for CNC business, if you are looking to start a business or working at it, one of there's a couple rules that we have to do, because sometimes when we start business, it sometimes feels like things aren't working, and you know, despite the effort we put in, and the rules are persistence, consistency, and I can't remember the third one, the general rules. But we'll go with persistence.
So many times.
Yeah, you just got to stay at it and stay at it. All right. Yeah, and of course, IDC Woodcraft YouTube channel and Kate's YouTube channel, Rise and Shine Wood Signs. All right, let's get on to the questions. And we got Richard right at the beginning. Richard is on it, man. I mean, the very first
727. He was here before we were even here.
Yeah. Richard, boy, I tell you what, let's pop this question in there.
All right, so let's see. From Sacramento, California. In design phase, how do I rotate text from horizontal to 90-degree vertical? I find it hard to do it exact with my mouth to exact 90 degrees. It bounces around. I wholeheartedly agree. There is a really great tool for that. It looks like looks like Ellen was helping you out a little bit with that. Let's see. So I'll tell you what, let me just go ahead and pull up Vectric, and I'll show you really quickly. It's a really great little tool. Let me share my screen here. Of course, now it's going to be a pain.
Just let me know when it shares. So Kate is going to show us how to rotate text 90 degrees. And there are a couple ways you can do it.
Yeah. But my Vectric was trying to play peekaboo with me and hide. Okay, so now I've got my Vectric pulled up.
Hang on. There it goes. Now it's showing up on the screen.
All right, so let's go ahead and come over to our draw text tool over here, and we'll just type in hello.
So you're already at 90 degrees with the font that you're running.
Yes, yeah.
Choose a different font.
Some of these, like, well, I was actually gonna just choose it from this right here. So to keep it simple, so over here under Transform Objects, there is a tool that says Rotate Selected Objects. We'll just go ahead and click that. And then underneath the type of rotation, you can do absolute or relative. We're going to choose relative for this. We'll just type in 90 and hit apply. And then there we go. So we've just got it transitioned from 90 degrees, and you can do that over and over using that Rotate Selected Objects tool.
Excellent. Zoom in a little bit on the screen. Show your screen again.
Oh, okay. Hang on one second.
I'm going to show you 2 more ways that you can do it.
Sure.
Well, one more way.
All right.
By the way, on the keyboard, if you have something selected like hello, press the letter R, and that brings up the rotate function. So that's a keyboard shortcut.
Very nice.
Yeah. Okay. So close that. And now you have the 4 blue beads on the 4 corners. So you have to select it and then bring the beads up. So select the hello. There it is. Now, if you hover over the beads, you'll watch Kate's cursor. If you can see if it comes in, hold your left.
Yeah, it kind of turns into like a little bit of a half circle almost.
Yep. And you hold your left mouse button down, and then you can start to rotate it around. Let's see you rotate that around a little bit, Kate.
Yeah.
There you go. Now, while she's like that, now go ahead, Control Z to undo that.
All righty.
Okay, now grab a blue bead, any one of them.
All right. Got it?
Okay, and just kind of pull it up a little bit.
Sure.
Okay. Oh, you don't have the blue bead. It just moved.
I've got it.
Is it
Do you not see it on my end?
Oh, no. Okay, so just type in, and while you're holding the left mouse button down, type in 90 on your keyboard and hit enter.
Oh, okay. Very fancy. Look at you. I did not even
Yeah,
know that.
well, that's
So
why
we're
we do this
holding,
stuff.
hovering, and then holding the left mouse key and typing 90 and then hit enter.
Yeah. So
Very
the
nice.
thing is, since Vectric is not displaying well on the screens, you hover your cursor over one of the blue dots. So your cursor was sitting down off to the side or something. But you hover it
Okay.
over a blue dot, hold the left mouse button down, and then you can just start to rotate it a bit and then type in your angle that you want and hit enter, and it'll
There we
rotate to
go.
that angle.
Now we're backwards.
Yeah. All right. So there you go, Richard.
All right. So let's go ahead. I'm going to hit stop sharing on that. And I'm going to bring up my. Okay. Very good. Very good. All right. So Ellen, thank you so much for trying to help Richard out. We appreciate
Yep.
that because we know you guys are always helping one another out. So, all right, let's see. Tim says, good evening. Hailing from
All right.
Georgia, but parked in South Carolina for the night tonight. I hope everyone's having a great week so far. Well, thank you, Tim. We appreciate that so much. We love that you
Yes,
tune in no matter where you are. You're always committed. So we love that.
he is very committed.
Says, yeah, Tim, I parked myself in a recliner. Nice, nice. And Ellen says she's having a pretty good week. Thanks for asking. Hope you guys are having a wonderful week as well. Yes, of course. We
Yay.
wish you guys are having a great week too. All right. Let's see here. Oh gosh, you guys are doing a little chatting. Let's see
Yep.
what we've got
So
here.
we're looking for some questions, and that's why it's taken us a moment. Right
Yeah.
now we have
Okay.
103 people on board. All right, what do you got?
Awesome. All right. So I'm not sure. I'm skimming over this. It says Gary Lynn at 7:55.
Okay,
He's
I
from
don't see
Waterford.
times. Yep. Okay, I don't see timestamps on the phone. So
Okay. There we go. I got the Toolbit database working. Machine was set on large CNC, not desktop. Spoil board is 30 for 30. Started in the bottom left-hand corner. Hit up arrow to 30 inches. Not sure if that was.
yeah, so the being selected on a large CNC doesn't really matter. That's just kind of a think of a file cabinet. First of all, the selections, I can't show you what that is because I don't have my computer, but he's got his post. I'm assuming he's talking about post processor. There's a selection where the post processor is where you can tell it if you're using a large machine or a small machine, but that's
Yeah.
basically just like folders where you have your different post processors parked. It's
Yeah.
not really relevant to the machine size at all. By the way, post processors, I did a video a couple days ago and posted it. If you don't know what a post processor is, it's about a 15-minute video and just kind of breaks it down for the beginner so you understand. Get a lot of questions about what's a post processor? How do you set up a post processor? What does it do? Why do I have to know this?
Yeah, it was a little overwhelming when I was trying to find it, but I looked on our manufacturer's website for Onefinity, and they did a really great job of walking you through it because they know this is not an uncommon question that they're getting or that anybody's struggling with because everybody has to have a post processor. But now I notice that Vectric actually has a really updated, nice list of post processors for metric and inches. So you can go in and select whatever your machine is or whatever post processor you have. And it's a great way of looking at things.
Yeah, yeah. For those of you that don't know what a post processor is, all CNC routers that when they require G code to run, right? G code is the instruction that the router understands. But all CNC routers are a bit different based on the designer of the software that's running the router. And so sometimes you have to have it needs to have certain codes, special unique codes that tell the router certain to be prepared in certain ways. And so the Vectric software, when it generates your tool path, you have to have a post processor selected for your machine. And what that does, it's like it inserts certain G codes into the code at certain places so the machine understands how it needs to be set up.
Mhm.
And you think of different CNC routers as maybe coming from different areas. If we'll talk the United States, right? You got your southern people with a really deep southern drawl. You almost I can't understand them, right? Louisiana, and then you have
Yes.
your then you have your New York accent, and on and on. And sometimes we can't understand it. Think of a CNC router kind of like that. And so the post processor will insert special G code that helps it
Mhm.
translate those dialects into the motion that the machine can understand.
Yep.
So
You got
with
it.
Gary's
That's a
question,
really great
yeah.
way of putting that.
So Gary, I don't know if this is really a question. Don't quite get where you're going here, but we got a couple things out of it anyway.
Yeah. Yeah. So I was kind of scrolling down from where he was, and he's got some more a little bit more in-depth detail.
Okay.
He says over 2 inches when I went to calculate it looked as if I was doing a box joint. Started
Okay.
in
Can't
bottom
but
left hand corner and hit up arrow 30 inches. I was looking at the comment
tilted.
above to see if those two related. I'm not
Oh,
sure what
okay.
exactly he's trying to say. Um,
Okay. So it looks like a box joint. Um,
I
so
don't know.
then he said two up, two over, two down, like 2 by 2. So Gary, I'm not really sure. I'm not picturing this. We'll watch for more of your comments as we go along.
Yeah,
Um,
I see Ellen. She had a little whoopsie daisy in the
uh-oh.
shop. She's right
Uh,
under Gary's comment. She says, today I didn't make my tabs big enough and out flew a puck as I was working on. Thank goodness. Oops, button.
okay. Well, didn't make her
Yeah.
tabs big
So
enough.
it's
What's
so
your
fun.
experience with making tabs and
Um,
making them not big enough? I've done it.
yep, I think we've all done it. I've had them just a little bit too thin. I've set them, the material, the full depth. And sometimes what I've noticed in sign making, especially if you have round signs, I will make it just a little bit. So let's say the sign is a half an inch thick. I'll make the tabs, maybe like zero point 0.4. So, and then that way it's not all the way at the top. So I don't kind of have that lip where I have to like take my little saw and cut it all the way through. I don't have that little lip on the edge, but you definitely want to make it almost as thick as the material and then make it, I mean, you can make them as wide as you want them, I guess, but I usually don't make mine any more than like a quarter of an inch wide. What about you?
um, well, so yeah, I don't make them very wide. The thing I take into account, number one, is I like to make sure I'm using the 3D tabs as
Yes.
opposed to the square tabs. So tabs, first of all, are little pieces that are left in your cutout to hold the piece of wood in place so it doesn't fly out like it did with Ellen because her tabs are too small. If you
Yes.
make the tabs too small, you'll basically cut it away in the process of making the tab, just because you have to take into account your router bit diameter. So if you have a 1/4 inch bit and you're making a 1/4 inch tab, you got to remember that that router bit has an eighth of an inch overlap on it,
Mhm.
and so it's working
Your
off the center
tabs are going to
axis,
be,
little tiny thin things, right?
yeah, that's
So yeah.
that's what I've had experience with doing. And so you just reminded me of that, and now I know why I made them wider because I have gotten them to the point where they're super thin, and I'm like, why are they so thin? Yep,
Right.
you're making my memory come back very fluently because I did that with a couple things on some big circles I was cutting for some backers for someone I do some work for,
Okay.
and I was like, oh crap, those are yeah a little thin. So, but yeah, the 3D tabs are a really great thing. I was actually talking with that about a student today because what happens is when you're running around on your router, no matter how fast you have your router set, if you have those tabs, it's never going to fully get up to speed because it's coming around and then it has to stop. The Z has to come up and then move back over and down and around again. And with 3D tabs, it kind of almost just like stops and then it just, I mean, it slows down and then it just kind of goes up and over and then back down again. That's why when you look in Vectric and you see the 3D tabs, they almost have like a little like curve in them.
Yeah, they're kind of pyramid shape, aren't they?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You want me to pull them up?
Yeah. Yeah, the thing with tabs, so the standard tabs, the tabs are straight up and down. So like what Kate was saying, the router bit has to come up to that tab point, and it has to, the motion of the machine has to stop. It moves to the other side of, to the other. Am I back?
Yeah, you're back.
Okay, okay. And it moves over to the other side of the tab, and then it comes down. So that pause leaves what they call dwell marks in your wood. And it's little digs in the wood because the router has had an opportunity to relax. And so dwell marks are something you have to sand out. With 3D tabs, it just kind of goes like that. It doesn't, it's a much smoother flow. So you should always select 3D tabs.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, so, okay, let's see. Having issue with adding clip art to a stacked sign text. I can add the stacked text, yet when adding clip art, where do I put it and develop toolpaths so it doesn't completely carve the art away?
So that's
you want to
working with
take this one, or?
Well, I don't have the software, but you create a boundary around the 3D artwork, and then when you tell it to carve out that 3D artwork, you're telling it to carve around the boundary that you're making around it.
Yeah.
You know how to do that, Kate?
Yes. Let me see. Can you?
As soon as it comes in, I'll let this.
Oh, for heaven's sakes. Sorry, we are having some. Go ahead.
Yeah, that's okay. So I'm watching for when you pop in, for when you're trying to share. Yeah, so when you're doing 3D work, you have several selections when you're doing the roughing and the finishing, and the several selections of where that bit is going to carve. And the one selection is the entire piece of material, and that's the material boundary. They're little radio buttons. The next one is model boundary, right? It'll carve just the boundary of the model. And then the next one is selected vector. And selected vector is where you actually create a vector around the 3D model. And that will give you a limit as well. What I like to do is I like to do selected vector when you have other things in the model, like stack text. Yes. And I will offset that vector just a little bit to ensure that the 3D the ball nose, taper ball nose comes out and carves the full 3D model. So basically, there's a selection in there where you can put a boundary around the 3D model, and then you go into the drawing mode from the model mode, and you select the vector, and now at the bottom in the drawing area is the offset and layout area. And you click the first icon, which is offset, and you create an offset. You offset that selected vector by a little bit, like maybe an eighth of an inch.
Yes. All right. So we are actually not going to do that demonstration. I have to log into my V&Co account because my clip art is not downloading. It's doing a whole thing tonight.
Oh, okay. You can't even import it from the stuff that Vectric has already put into it?
No, because I don't have I don't have like a ton of clip art already downloaded.
Okay. All right. Well, Butch, we'll have to show you next week then, brother.
Yeah, I'm so sorry about that. I hate that.
Yeah.
All right. So let's see.
So what was the other thing? What was I going to say? Oh, student. Yeah, you mentioned something about one of your students. So if you are working with the Vectric software and you're stuck, Kate does one-on-ones.
Yep.
Right. She will spend an hour, hour with you or whatever you schedule. It's per hour, and to help you work through Vectric problems. So in the description of this video, Facebook would be up above and YouTube would be down below, is a link where you can schedule some time with her. And
Yeah.
she's getting busier and busier with students, which is good.
Yep.
And the cool thing about that is when I was doing one-on-ones, what I loved the best was it made me learn more.
Yes.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I have a list of things that my students have asked me, and I'm like, I'm not familiar with that tooling process, so I'll have to look into it. And of course, I've done a lot of many different cuts within Vectric, but there are certain functions that I just have not um, come across. So, for instance, tonight was using the pecking tooling feature.
Okay.
I've never really used that because I've never done any, like, I guess, drilling. I'm not from Canada, so haven't made cribbage boards. It's just I've never had a need to do that, so I've never done it. So it's something I've got to look into.
All right. Well, when it
So
comes to peck drilling can take quite a while because the drill bit has to come down a certain distance, come out. For those of you who like make cribbage boards and what have you, all right, you're 120 holes per track. And so if you are drilling with a flat bottom end mill, your pecking has to be pretty short to allow for that those chips to get out. You have to pull the bit out to allow the chips because there's not a lot of room in the flutes to allow that chip clear out. And so that can take quite a bit of time. If you make cribbage boards or do a lot of drilling, you may want to check out the drill bits on idcwoodcraft.com. All right,
yeah,
they're designed to run at the speed of CNC routers, and they don't leave much tear out whatsoever. I've had them designed specially for the CNC routers so they can
yeah.
handle it. And the beauty is you don't have to peck. You just it's literally 1 second per hole.
Oh,
So
nice.
if you're making cribbage boards, you might want to consider that. Go to idcwoodcraft.com and check out those drill bits.
Yeah.
Um,
So we were talking about obviously the difference between the downcut bits and the upcut bits. So, when you're drilling any type of bit or anything, you want to make sure that you're using an upcut bit so you're not compacting those wood chips down into the wood further. You want to make sure that they're ejecting up and away from, and
yeah.
you don't want to overheat the bit and create a fire or do anything really dangerous.
Yeah,
So,
yeah. If you're using an end mill to drill, never, ever, 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 ever drill with a down bit. Ever.
did you all get
You
that?
are,
Ever.
yeah, you are
Never,
asking
ever.
you're asking for a fire.
Yes. And I always, it's so funny that you say that because I always, when I work with my students, I'm like, please hear me when I say this. Listen and hear me. Hear me. You can save your G code, but if you don't save your Vectric file for new beginners, you need to save the Vectric file and you need to save your G code. Because if you save your G code and you go to plug it in your machine, it's all good and dandy. It's not going to leave because you saved it. But if you have to make an edit to that file and you did not save your Vectric file, it's going to be gone. So
Yeah.
please make sure you save your files.
Yeah, Vectric does not have an auto save feature where it saves periodically. Apparently, I've heard that they tried it for a while and they had issues, so they just quit doing it. So
Yeah.
if you design something and you shut it down, you don't save it, it's gone.
There's no
Gone.
like recover mode. There's nothing. So, because I've had so many, so many people email me like, Kate, how do I get my project back? I'm like, I'm sorry, you can't. You have no idea how many times I've done that, and I've wanted to like strangle myself for not doing it.
I wish I would get back to that. Speaking of Vectric, if you're new to Vectric and you're trying to learn it and you're trying to wing it on your own, we know, like we have done, you are searching through YouTube constantly trying to get answers to, yep, how many hours you spend doing that. And last week I had Kyle here. Kate and I were
Yep.
had Kyle as a guest host. Kyle has put together a Vectric course built for you as a beginner that takes you right from the beginning and goes all the way through the entire Vectric software. And my philosophy is, if you've spent $2,000, $3,000, $4,000 on a CNC router, another $500 on bits and other miscellaneous things like design software, invest in yourself as well to know how to use it the right way. You know, you've gone
Yes.
this far, just invest in this in the people that can teach you. So his course has got a lot of rave reviews, and I've linked it in the description here. Facebook is up above,
Yep.
and so you might just want to click the link, check it out. YouTube, it's down below. Click the link,
Yep.
check it out if you want to consider that.
Yeah. It's
Okay,
learnyourcnc.com.
yeah, learnyourcnc.com. But
Yep.
there's links in the
A
description here.
great
All right,
investment.
all right.
All right.
So here's one.
So yeah, we've got a great
Yeah.
question here from Jen. She's in Ontario, Canada. Curious about the significance of the colors of the nodes in Vectric VCarve Pro when in node editing mode.
It's a good one, because
Yeah.
the colors of nodes do mean some different things. There's some fun stuff you can do with nodes.
Yeah.
So you're
So
not able to share, you said, right?
I can, yes, I can. I couldn't get the clip art to come in because
Okay.
it was being a little bit of a pain. So let me pull
Yeah.
up Vectric
Okay.
here.
It may be kind of hard to see because the nodes are small in the screen.
Yeah, in my I don't know if it's my computer or Vectric or StreamYard or what, but I feel like it's like everything.
They're just small. Whenever I shoot a video and I need to point out a node, I always have to edit it so that it zooms into that part of the screen.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, so here we go. So on this particular node, I've just pulled up a square. Can you see everything okay, Garrett?
Yes, yes.
Okay, so we've got this green node here. Green nodes are for your start. Okay, this is a little bit of a just a really easy, I guess, easy box. There's not a lot of nodes. There's not a lot of problems. When you have a blue node, it's going to be for any type of a Bezier curve. So if you're looking to do like draw a curve, and
So
let's
what's a
just say
Bezier curve?
a Bezier curve is just like a curve.
Yeah,
Just
it's kind of a curve that it's not an arc. It's not part of a circle.
yeah,
So Bezier curve is a continuously changing curve.
yes. So we've got our start point here, and then these blue nodes, what you're seeing is a Bezier curve, and you can move these all around. They have the handles that you can twist and rotate, and like Garrett said, it's the ever-changing movement. My computer is not wanting to move. And then, of course, if you were to select a particular node, it's going to change red. So like if I were to come in here and I were to just highlight and select, whoops, if I were to select these nodes, they would all turn red, which meaning that I could right click and I could do anything that I wanted to on these because all these nodes are selected. So there's that. I say black is literally everything else in the node world.
Yeah.
What do you want to add?
Okay. Well, the green one is the green node. Every vector will have a green node,
Mm-hmm.
and independent vector, whether it's a circle or a line or a square, it doesn't matter. And
Yes.
the green node is where the router is going to enter the project.
Mm-hmm.
It's where your router bit will enter. So that's what Kate means by it's the start point.
Yep.
So, and you can change that start point. If say you want the router bit, say you're creating a sign and the top of the sign really matters, the contours, what have you, and
Yeah.
entry point can actually leave a dwell mark in there. So say you want to put that entry point, you want to move and the Vectric software puts the green node at the top where you don't want it. Now your screen's flashing, Kate, pretty badly.
Uh-oh. Uh-oh.
Yeah. But that's okay. We'll just go on with what we got. You can hover over any node with your mouse and click click P on your keyboard, and that will move that green node, and that will make that new node the start point. Okay. So yeah, nodes are transition points for the software. The blue one is like a smooth transition node. So like
Yeah.
the Bezier curves or
Yes.
not in arcs, so not in circles.
No.
The black nodes are they're like right turns, left turns, moderate, very moderate turns, but they're hard turns.
Yeah.
And so whenever you have, here's a little tip for you. Whenever you are doing a V carve and you have a black node, that when that V bit gets to that black node, it's going to pull out and go back in.
Hmm.
Right. And that's going to leave a
And
little
that's, you have
mark.
that little, you have that
Yeah.
almost like little entry and exit point, and you're like, what is, and then you're trying to like smooth it out, but you've got them all the way around. That's when you know that you need to use something like the curve fit tool. That's going to make everything maybe a little bit smoother. You can change, you can use that to finesse your angles, if you will, on certain letters. Like if you're trying to smooth like a cursive font or something.
Mhm.
Maybe you imported an image off of Google and you need to smooth the edges. You can use this curve fit tool to make things a little bit easier.
Right. Go over to the corner of your square that you've done. So bring that to visible on the screen.
All right.
And I just want to see if there's something we can do here. So
Sure.
her screen is flashing kind of quite a
Yeah.
bit there. But
Sorry about that.
so now highlight the node, turn the nodes on the rectangle.
Okay.
Okay. Now hover over a black one and
Okay.
hit the letter S on your keyboard. Now you see what that did? That changed it from a corner node, which is a black node, to a smooth node.
Hmm.
All right. So those are some
Oh,
little tricks you can do with nodes.
yeah. And you can also do, if you right click on your nodes, you can also see, so here's that S command for the smooth point. You can cut vectors.
It's not bringing up your menu when you right click.
Oh no.
Yeah, when you hover
Oh,
over
this
the
thing
node.
is so frustrating.
Yeah, when you hover over the node, she's saying right click and you'll get a little menu. Go
Yep.
ahead, Kate. Explain what that menu has in it.
So it's got delete point, smooth point, cut vector, and then like what Garrett was saying earlier about the make the start point, that's actually P for the shortcut, and to the right you will see all of those shortcuts. So if you hit those, hit that letter on your keyboard, that's the function that will correlate within the design.
Yeah, and you can cut a node as well.
Yes.
So meaning you can break a component away. So right now, that rectangle with the rounded corner on it is considered a closed vector. All
Mm-hmm.
right, a closed vector is no matter how the software sees it, it's just a continuous loop. And you can turn that, you can make it an open vector. Click on the rectangle again,
Yep.
and she's bringing nodes. Now she's going to hover over that one there. You can hit the letter C, I believe it
Mm-hmm.
is, and
Yep.
that will cut that node. Now click the other node, the weird rounded one, and
Double
then hit
do.
the left top and hit the letter C again.
Yep.
And now you see the other nodes went away, just the two top. And now we have two different vectors there.
Yep. So now we can see that this top line is connected or not connected. It's just this singular line, and then the rest of the design is not cut. This was an
Yeah.
issue I had. One of my students I was actually working with today, he could not figure out for the life of him why when he would take this into Vectric or into um, to tool to to V curve this or whatever, he was only getting the bottom piece, and he's like, why am I not getting these connected? And so this is a really common problem among a lot of designers trying to do design work. So a really easy function, just so you know, is you can actually select this and then hold down your shift key and it will highlight the rest of it. And then you can come over to edit objects and you can choose the join function, which is in the bottom left corner, and just hit join. And I actually have about a 1-inch tolerance on mine, so it kind of just pulls them together wherever they're from. And then I hit join, and then I'll close that out, and then I have one solid vector.
All
So
right. Yep.
a lot of
Good.
people have issues with that, so sorry if we kind of went a little into the weeds on that, but it's really helpful for people to know once they can cut vectors, you can move things, you can get rid of like that really wavy line and use your polygon tool, which is your straight line, make your straight lines. use your rulers, use your guides. There's a lot of really cool things that Vectric can do as far as actual design work.
Yeah, and
So
one of the things when it comes to nodes, that a good chunk you're seeing of your design problems that you can't generate the tool paths you want is because of the nodes. You need
yes.
something's going on with the nodes.
Hmm.
So to get it, nodes are just joining points for the various parts of lines, and
Yeah.
they are necessary for your design software to know what to do with it. It's there for all design software, not
Yes.
just Vectric. Every design software has nodes and builds nodes into its vectors.
Yeah.
All right, we've spent quite a bit of time on that, but that was kind of a good dive into it. I've got a
Yeah.
video on nodes. Um, I dive into it because there's a lot of stuff you can do on nodes to manipulate your lines and what have you. That's something
Yeah.
else you'd learn in Kyle's course. You'll
Yep.
learn everything about the nodes. All
Yep.
right, what do we got? Yeah.
There is a lot going in there. So Jen, I hope that helped clear up a little bit about nodes for you. And if you have any more questions, feel free to ask anytime.
You got a bonus out of that one.
Yeah. So we've got Eddie. He says, "Hello, Garrett and Kate from Green." Hello, Garrett and Kate. Ed Green from Pennsylvania. Got my soda and popcorn ready for another show.
I am
Nice.
going here's the trick. When I leave here, I'm in Las Vegas right now. I'm at the AWFS show, huge show, and I'll be putting out videos, interviewing several people at the show, companies. Um, but I am flying out on the red eye Friday night, and I will arrive in Madison, Indiana. Well, my plane lands at 9:30 in the morning, so it'll be
Oh,
12-hour transit time. I'm going out over to Atlanta, and I've got some layover over there, plus the 3-hour time change, and then I am driving to Pennsylvania another 5 hours.
and you're
So
gonna
I'll
be
be
like,
going to, yeah,
are you just
yeah.
gonna like drink Red Bull continuously, or what? Like, what's your plan for like staying alive?
Me and Starbucks are best friends on a day like that.
I guess all
Ed,
those buy you a cup of coffees
yeah,
did you some good.
yeah. Ed, just for your information, I will be in Carnegie, just south of Pittsburgh.
Oh, very cool.
Yeah.
Very cool. All right, let's see. Oh, we've got Dan back.
Hey,
Hello
Dan,
from
Niagara
Niagara Falls.
Falls.
I was just telling my husband, I said, I want to take the kids there. I think that would be so cool. I really want to go to Banff. I hope I'm saying that right. I really want to go to Banff. They have some of the most beautiful mountains and terrain there that's just incredible.
Where?
So, yeah. What's that?
The where?
Banff. I think it's Banff. It's in
And where is
Canada.
that? Okay, okay.
Yeah. I'm not sure. I want to say it might not. I don't know if it's close to Red Deer. I'm not sure. Anyway,
Okay,
I haven't looked at it in a minute.
gotcha. Okay.
All right. Let's see. It
Yeah, go ahead.
says, "Thank you for everything, Garrett. I'm going to buy another hog bit. I think there might have been some sort of nail or staple in the piece of what I was carving. Saw some debris.
So, well,
I'm guessing he
that
wrecked his bit.
I don't know. I mean, those bits should cut right through something that small. I cut nails with those darn things. When I was testing that bit, I had that big chunk of maple, and that was an old beam from somewhere, and there were old nails in it. The old square nails that were in it,
Lord, those
and
things are like,
yeah, and it cut right through it. But so okay. Well, email me. Let me know. Email me at Garrett at idcwoodcraft.com. Let me know what's going on. Did you break the bit or what have you?
yeah. All right. So we've got Renata made it. Welcome back. We've got lots of ladies on here tonight, so I'm so thankful.
Hey,
Let's
well,
see.
make
We've
sure
got,
you, ladies, make sure you join Women Who CNC, the
yep,
Facebook group, Kate's Facebook group. It's for women. It's Women Who CNC. Um,
yeah,
why, so sometimes when Kate and I are talking on the side, she'll say, some guy tried to sign up to the group, and in the guidance, the mentoring that we were doing before, Kate and I, and I said, you've got a group of people who are women, right? Who sometimes she had to look at herself, right? Kate, you're looking at yourself going,
Yeah.
sometimes you don't want to
Yeah.
ask a question in the groups because sometimes people aren't that nice. And so Kate built, we talked about it. So if you're going to build a business, Kate, let's build the market for them, right? And
Yep.
the women who CNC, and the foundation of this is a safe place where people aren't going to razz you because you ask a question that appears to be stupid to somebody else. It's,
Yeah.
a question is never ever stupid, ever.
No.
Yeah, we're just
No.
at where we're at. So, ladies, make sure you join Kate's group, Women Who CNC.
Yeah. And it really is. I actually, kind of just as a sidebar, I asked the ladies this week, and I said, I'm getting a lot of like really vague profiles. I'm not really sure if they are a man or woman. I try to like, look and see, because I do. I try to, keep it a safe space for us women. And it's really hard because I don't know if they are a man or woman. And I was like, what do you think? Should I decline them? Should I add them? What is your opinion? And the majority of the women said, I love our safe space. I love that we can just talk and not have that, like, somebody giving me an eye roll comment like, God, I can't believe you asked that. Like, it's just, we all started somewhere. Like, we all knew nothing about CNC at one point, and others, some people just don't, they forget that they were brand new at one point too. So you can't just roll your eyes and hope that like they figure it out. That's what we're here for. We're here to help and guide and to teach. And I was just really impressed that most of the women felt like they were really genuinely appreciative that I built this space for them to just talk and ask questions, because a lot of them said, I ask questions in this group that I would never ask in another group, and then I ask questions in those groups
Yes.
that I would never ask, or that I, or not vice versa, but the
Yep.
big groups, they felt comfortable certain asking questions, and then other groups, they're like, bring it on. But we have a lot of technical questions. We have a lot of Vectric questions. Why is my bit doing this? What's going on? So it is a very productive group, which I think is fantastic.
Cool.
So
Yep. IDC Woodcraft, the CNC Entrepreneurs Facebook group. I have a zero tolerance policy. The minute I see somebody giving other people, ragging on somebody else's project, they get booted. Right. I got good moderators. They understand the rules of IDC Woodcraft. We celebrate what people do. We encourage them. We validate them, but I don't tolerate BS. I just don't tolerate. It's zero tolerance policy. I don't tolerate BS, period. You just go. You get out of my life and out of the CNC space that's supposed to be safe. Right. And you have the same thing, Kate. Okay.
Yep, you got
Let's
it.
move on.
All right. So
Norman's here. Go ahead.
Yeah. And I see, just so you know, I see a Facebook user. If you hit that permission button in Facebook, it will allow us to see who you are. So I'm not sure if you've been here before with us, but if you do allow the Facebook permission to see your name, that way if you ask questions, we can refer to you by name. So,
Modger said hit the like button.
yeah, yeah, we've got lots of I saw we've got several people hinting at hitting the like button. But Butch did answer. He said the red machine is Legacy.
Legacy. It is Legacy. That's right. Thank you.
Is that what it is? There we go.
Yes,
Okay.
it is. It is Legacy.
Um,
Not Laguna. Legacy. Laguna is a big machine. That's like super industrial. If I remember right.
Yeah.
The
I remember the
Laguna.
brand.
Yeah, the Legacy is very interesting. The guy Andy, who started the company 30 years ago. He he started just making turning equipment, but now he's built a machine where you can have all in one machine, your tool changer, a rotary axis. He's got tilt tables so you can like do odd angles, and he's got an index, a compound on the rotary. So what a compound is it changes the angle. All right, so he compounds it so it can go up like that. So if your rotary is going like this, and you can just, so it's really kind of cool stuff.
Yeah. That sounds impressive.
Yep, and one of his big important missions is to get that machine, for education, students. So he focuses a lot on the school education.
Yeah. Wow, that's
Okay.
fantastic.
Yeah.
That's fantastic. Let's see. Mad Dog popped on here. Said, "Driving home. See you tomorrow, Garrett."
All right. Yeah, he's coming back tomorrow to take some more footage for me. It'd be my camera guy. So
Oh man.
for those who have showed up late, I am in Las Vegas, Nevada. I am at the AWFS show, Association of Woodworkers. What's the rest of it stand for? I'm drawing a blank.
That's
But
okay.
it's a huge show. The first 8 hours, well, let's say 7 hours I was there. Me and Mad Dog made it through about a quarter of the floor space. So many things there. But I've had interviews with quite a few people now. I've had some of my brothers and sisters come up and say, "Hey, Garrett, how's it going?"
Yeah, I know.
Even Mad Dog. Robert is one guy that was there, and Mad Dog even recognized him. Robert came up to me, "Hey, Garrett, I just want to say hi because I knew it was you." Oh, okay. And then Robert's going, "Wait, I know you. Where did I see you from?" He's got a
Oh
YouTube
my gosh.
channel.
Yeah, they're
All
looking
right.
at you like, I know who he is. I just can't. I can't place him.
But well,
Isn't that
he's
crazy?
got a little bit of a YouTube channel too. So
Yeah.
anyway, that's where I'm at. I'm here. I'm here. Let's see, today, tomorrow, and Friday. And so I'm really looking
Hope you
forward
got
to
your
it.
good walking shoes.
Yeah. Yep.
You're gonna need them.
Right.
All right, so let's see. It looks like we got Kenny. He says he's prototyping something for my business. I hope it sells well. I see a couple comments later. He said he can't tell us what it is right now, but we will put some good vibes out there and say a prayer for you that it works well for you.
All right. Don is giving the thumbs up here. Dan is.
Dan. Yep.
That was a total mistake. Total mistake. I
That's
promise,
okay.
bro. Yeah,
That's
that was totally a mistake.
Dan is giving us
Dan.
the thumbs up. He says take the
Yeah,
hint, folks. Take the hint.
yeah, Dan. Okay.
All right, let's
Anyway,
see. So it looks like I don't know so if it's Jeff from Western Australia. That's pretty cool. I hope I didn't slaughter
yeah.
your name. Um, we've got Gary. Oh, Chris is saying hello. We've got Chris is another Australian that pops on here every Wednesday. So maybe you two could hook up sometime. I think that'd be awesome if you guys could like meet up sometime. Um, let's see. Kirk says, "Hey Garrett, I got my bits yesterday. I haven't had a chance to use them yet."
Good. You'll get them. You'll get to use them. I'm
Yep.
glad you got them though. You always get bits with your M&M order, by the way. You always get a bag of M&Ms with your bits.
Yes, yes, of course. Priorities. All right. So Norman says he's talking about Kyle. I'm really interested in his master course, but I only have a 12 by 30 table and I'm using a Vectric desktop.
Okay. So his course is going to run you through all that stuff. So the Vectric desktop
I don't know
doesn't
how
have,
much capabilities they have.
well, it's got almost everything except it's missing a couple things like the gadgets tool.
Okay.
And there's one other thing that's missing. I can't remember what it is. But yeah, it's missing a couple tools, but it's worthwhile. Anyway, you're gonna get it. You're gonna get it all. All right. So
Yeah.
you're not gonna lose on that one.
I don't think it really matters, how big your
His
CNC is. You've got, I mean, learning the software is like 9/10 of the program because you can have the best and the biggest and the coolest machine, but if you don't know how to use Vectric to program your CNC to do it, it's a large paperweight. So
yeah.
learning
Yep.
Vectric is
So
essential.
Kyle teaches the Cut 2D, the desktop, the VCarve, and the Aspire. Yeah, but
Okay.
Kate's right. Kate's absolutely right. Right. You,
Yep. It's just a large
you're
paperweight if you don't know what you're doing.
right. And, and
So,
and and you'll lose a lot of pieces of wood and bits if you don't set the designs up right.
mhm. Yep.
So
Absolutely.
I would suggest considering it, seriously considering it regardless, because he does run through all the tools in the software.
Yeah. And I mean, I always say, I've always told this since the very beginning, when we very first started doing this months ago, Work with what you have. If you've got a 12 by 30 machine, bust out some cool projects. I've seen people make some really cool stuff on even small machines, and they're making bank doing what they're doing. I mean, let the people who make the big ginormous signs, let them work with their big machines, but work with what you've got. Build up your nest egg, and if you want to invest in something bigger and badder and whatever else, go for it. Like for me, I always see the machines with the spindles, and I'm like, God, I would love to have a spindle. But in all reality, what I'm doing, I don't need a spindle. So, but would I want one? Oh yeah, absolutely. Would I love to have a vacuum table? Abso-freaking-lutely. That would make my life like so much easier. But I'm working with what I got. I mean, I'm happy with what I have. It does what I need. You know, it's good. One day I will get there. One day I will get there. If somebody wants to send me like a really cool free machine with a vacuum table and the spindle, like I would accept that.
Absolutely.
You know,
By the way, brother Joe is on here, right? Joe Lazaro. We both talked to him. Um,
yes.
he is working with a spindle company right now. Joe started on the
Very
CNC
cool.
journey a year ago and finally got a long mill CNC router quite some time ago. And total green, total deer in the headlights guy. And now
Yeah.
he's talking to a spindle company and working with a spindle company.
Wow.
Right. So
Very
if you're
cool.
brand new to CNC and you're just going, oh my God, how am I going to make this work? Right. The deer in the headlights. This guy is a classic example of just diving in, not knowing what you're doing, but just keep plugging away at it until you get it. And Joe would get anxious, right?
We
Because
all
it
do.
wasn't it wasn't registering at first, and finally it started to click. It just needed to keep working it, keep working it, keep working it. And
Yep.
now the guy's working with a spindle company, talking to a spindle company. I mean,
Good
good
job, Joe.
lord.
Good
Yeah.
job. Cheers for you. That's awesome. Oh, all right. Let's see. We've got Sherry. She says, "Hey, from Westland, Michigan.
Hi,
Hey,
Sherry.
hey." All right. Let's see. So we've got Jack in the shop. He says, "I've been cutting hand saws with the plasma on my long mill. Have not been able to try the beast yet." Man, I'm telling you, that bit is it's a beast. I mean, it literally it's just absolutely bananas insane like how powerful that thing is. If you do a lot of charcuterie boards or things like that, I would highly recommend buying that beast because you're just going to be able to like destroy the wood around it and go for it. The only thing you really have to be careful with the beast, if you have a Makita router or I don't know, as a Carveco, they have their own router, I think maybe. Anyway, if you have just like a router that's in your machine and not a spindle, you have to be really careful because the beast will overpower your router. It'll kill it. You won't break the beast. Promise. I tried.
You all break it.
You won't break it. I tried. I did. I actually have a video. I'm putting the finishing edits on of a piece of cherry wood, and I ran it at like a bunch of different speeds and feeds, and the bit was like, and it just kind of like kicked out because it was literally overpowering. The force of the bit was overpowering the router, and the router could not keep up with it. So it's
Yep.
it's very cool to have. I really
Yep.
like it.
The beast, for those of you who don't know, is a CNC router bit that I put out with IDC Woodcraft. It's what's considered a roughing bit, and it is designed to remove material quickly. And it's not designed to leave a clean finish, right?
No.
If you're making a bowl, and you've made bowls before with, then you're using like your quarter-inch down cutter or something. You're working with a 40% step over. You got this much depth and 60, 80 inches per minute, whatever you use, and it
Yeah.
takes quite a while. The beast, well, one of the other things that's going on is you're wearing down your bit just removing material, and
Yeah.
so the life of the bit is getting worn down by all that work. The beast is a roughing bit designed to get in there and rough all that material out, that
Hmm.
it can go 4 times deep. It can be run at 1 inch deep. I've run it at 1 inch deep, 1,000 inches per minute, 80% step over on hardwood maple, and it doesn't even know it's there, right? But the like bench tops can't handle that kind of speed.
Yeah.
Um, so if you're doing a lot of material removal, you might want to consider that. It'll cut your removal time down from like an hour to 10 to 15 minutes.
Yeah, it is. It really does. It's quite remarkable. Okay, so we had some good, a few conversations in there about the rotating, using the Alt key while you're rotating for the 90 degrees on letters and things, letters, numbers, whatever you need to rotate. So there's a lot of good info in the comments if you want to read through some of those. And we have a good
Okay.
question here from Sherry about your tool database. She says the link to the download I add to the bit database on your video, it sends her to an ad instead of to the database. Is there somewhere that I can get the database?
Oh, okay. I did a lot of changes in the website. Really had to get rebuilt a while ago, and so we lost a lot of links on the website idcwoodcraft.com. Right at the top of the menu bar, right, that says database downloads. You get it right off the website. Click
Yep.
there and you'll get it.
Yep.
Yep.
It is right there. Got some people from Tennessee.
Yeah. Wait, what did Dan just say about the angles here?
Oh. Just hold down the Alt key while you're rotating and it will snap to various predetermined angles, including 90.
Yeah. Oh, I think there's another way too. You can press the letter 8 or the number 8 or the number 9. It'll pop 45 degrees.
Okay. Very cool. Well, that's even better. That's even good to know. So you guys are full of information tonight. You're awesome.
I'm sorry, I interrupted you, but what were you saying?
No, you're fine. Okay. So we've got Kevin Rich. He says hello from Tennessee. Letterman's Mark, hello from New York. Hello. That's one of my students. He is doing some really, oh my gosh. This is Jonathan, I was telling you about. He has a really, really cool opportunity with a funeral home. This gentleman is getting contracts with a funeral home, and this the gentleman makes signs. So he makes like New York Yankees or Buffalo Bills signs or military signs or flags or whatever it is. And he has asked Jonathan to help out and make backers so he can put these signs on him. And I told him, man, this would be like an amazing opportunity. But what you need to do is be asking him if you can make the cutouts for like the New York Yankees, like, that New York Yankees symbol for baseball and all the, all the other sports. And I'm like, then he wouldn't have to have, because they're all preset and predetermined, like what this guy is making. So he has like a catalog of things that he sells. So I'm like, then you could just make them and stock them and say, here, go paint them, do whatever. Cause this guy's cutting them all out by hand. I'm like, this is a gold mine.
Yeah. You know what? There are endless opportunities for you to create a business. Who was it last week? They had a $4,000 commission job to do.
Gosh, I can't remember.
Right? So with what, an insurance realtor or insurance something, but the thing is, you just got to get out. Yeah, you just got to get out there and talk to people.
Yeah.
And you have it. So one of the things you said to take note of, not just you, Kate, but anybody, when you're making copyright or trademark protected items, right? Yes. You have to be careful about it. The best thing to do, there are ways you can get around it and still make it look like it is, like you can change colors and things like that. But the best thing to do is get permission first from the companies. Companies like Disney will eat you to alive. They are ruthless. Yep. Disney is ruthless. You think that they would be the nicest company on the planet? They don't care. You touch Mickey Mouse and you put it out there, they are after you. They are writing you letters. They are not nice people.
No, and honestly, I can vouch for that because when I first started out sign making, I was using my Cricut, and there are a ton of like Disney, you know, Super Mario Brothers, all that kind of anything that's animated or whatnot else. If you're making it and selling it, oh, I've seen some of people post those letters in groups, and it's not a pretty letter. So they know to just what I always teach my
And,
kids is take the next right step and do the right thing. Just
right.
put
And
that in
they
your
are
head.
they are watching, right? Like in Etsy. So one of our CNC brothers, um, Patrick, right? He
Yep.
was making things that looked similar to the Harry Potter stuff, like the buildings and things. It just kind of
Yeah.
profiles. Well, whatever company owns the trademark to that, actually contacted Etsy. They shut his store down, and he lost whatever money was still
Oh
owed to
yeah.
him for products that he shipped out. So
Yeah.
you always want to be very, very careful about trademark copyright infringement.
Hmm.
It's just
Absolutely.
like me with IDC Woodcraft. If I saw someone trying to use the name IDC Woodcraft um, out there to promote their own business, you best believe I'm going to protect it.
We'll come for you.
Yeah.
Oh boy. All right. So let's see. We've got oh, Dum Dum Dev is back. I always love his name. It just makes me chuckle. Hey, he says hey from Charlotte. Um, Jack says hi from Gastonia. I hope I'm pronouncing that right. Ed says hello. Okay.
Ed has a question too.
Yeah, Ed's got a great question here.
Yeah.
What's the best website for getting a website started?
The
So
best
Garrett and I
website
have
for
different
getting.
opinions on this, so I'll let him speak first and then I'll speak.
Well, considering that IDC is an incorporation, right? It started as an
Right.
LLC and now it's a sub S corporation, and it's also a growing business. So I've got quite a bit more complication with my site. I use Shopify. I have a guy, tech guy, and I pay him to handle it. Right. So on that note, my opinion is you need a website, and that's what the basis of this question is. Anybody who's starting a CNC, start a website. Um, the one of the things with websites, a lot of times we start this stuff ourselves, and we're trying to build a website ourselves, and websites can break pretty darn easy. And
Yeah.
if we're not tech savvy, it just falls apart.
Hmm.
So I would say that you find somebody. You could hire my tech guy. I don't know if he's in the market yet or not, but he might do it. He's talked to me about it. Right? But
Yep.
he's on payroll, right? But I
There
don't
you go.
care if I can help somebody start their business. Um,
Yeah.
but yes, website is something you want. Go ahead, Kate. You share your thoughts on that.
So just my personal thoughts from just let's just call it a civilian standpoint without having a tech guy in your corner. I did use Shopify, and I I personally even I mean I'm pretty tech savvy. I can write some code and things like that, and I found it very hard. Um, I also found it a little bit more expensive for the attachments and the things that I needed. Um, so once I kind of I got my website built, and then I actually hired a designer that was through a friend of a friend, and he is a website designer. His name's Stephen Melling, um, and he's fantastic. But he kind of turned me on to WooCommerce, and I really like that because I literally can say I need something that is going to give me blah 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 blah, and like it can be like 10 different criteria items, and he literally types it in the WooCommerce website, and it like pulls up 82 different things, and then he sends me all of my different options, and then I choose what's best for me, and then he'll integrate it into my website.
You mean
So
WordPress, or WooCommerce is a paid
WordPress.
platform? Yeah.
Yeah,
You were you were
WordPress.
you were saying WooCommerce.
Oh, I'm
WooCommerce
sorry.
is a payment platform, so that
Oh,
works in WordPress. So, but
sorry.
I thought, but building your own. I mean, you can start with Wix, or what else
Yeah.
is out there.
They
Wix
even
is
have, you were telling me about like to do, even to start out, if you just want to start selling some products that you have, to do like a Facebook shop.
Yeah.
That might be an easy way to go just to get started.
Yep.
You could do an Etsy shop. I mean, there's a lot that goes into Etsy, but the more you put into it, the more return you get out of it. But if you're just looking to start selling your products that you have, there's your Facebook shop, and then you can run Facebook ads, and that's an easy way to get
Facebook
started.
is an amazing place to get started. Right, and Facebook has got all the structure already built. It's not the easiest to grasp as far as the way it's set up. Even me, or even my tech guy is like, oh, I hate Facebook. But Facebook has got a lot of the stuff already in place. You just got to take some time to learn it. But it's
Yeah.
phenomenal for starting selling your stuff. Number one, you're immediately putting your stuff in front of people. Just take pictures and get it out on Facebook on your personal feeds.
Yeah.
But it's phenomenal because everybody's there. It kind of always just it makes me go, oh my gosh, when people say, well, I don't like Facebook, I don't like it because of this, or I don't like what Mark Zuckerberg's political opinions are. Who cares? He doesn't care. It's a business tool. Facebook is a business tool. And, as a business owner, you go where it works.
Yep.
So
Yep.
you go where it works.
I've
Doesn't
had
matter
to
whether you like
encourage
it or not.
some. Yep, I've had to encourage some students that they're not big on social media. And I said, you don't have to be big on social media, but get on Facebook and join the groups. You will learn so much from a Facebook group like Kyle's group, like the Vectric, VCarve, and Aspire group, your group, CNC Entrepreneurs, my group, Women Who CNC, all on Facebook. Just go join the groups, go learn, like whatever type of machine you have, type in that group. Like mine has the Onefinity official forum on Facebook. My God, there's like 40 or 50,000 people in that group, and they are all, for the most part, like 98% of like really just good people that will answer your questions like in record time. So, and then even in those search bars in the tops of the groups, you can type in very specific questions, and like you'll get like a whole list of the answers and questions that have been asked previously of the similar questions like you're asking, and then you can just comb through the answers. I mean, it's just like a plethora of knowledge out there. So go utilize it.
Yes, absolutely. Facebook is a great resource.
Yeah.
At the same token, it's a data collection system, just like Google is. Right?
Yeah. Oh man.
Facebook, Google knows. They all know everything about us. You can't get away from it anymore unless you don't have a cell phone and
Yeah.
don't have a
Yeah.
computer.
Yeah.
What else? What other electronic devices can't you have? Alexis and whatever else.
Alexa. That's what my
Alexa.
mother-in-law calls it. Alexis, be quiet. And I'm like, it's Alexa. She's like, her name is not Alexis. All right, so we've got a great question. He says, my question is about the post processor at the end of, or the post process at the end of a carve. I want to have the spindle lift off a set amount ready to change the bit. So are we talking about maybe the Z height when he needs to?
Yeah. First of
Within
all,
Vectric?
the Vectric software, you can set your Z height. You want to pull that up, see if we can get there.
Yeah.
So there's a safe Z height, they call it, or a pull out Z height. All right, and there's two Z heights that you can set up in the Vectric. The one is if you got a router bit and it's carving different things, and then it needs to pull up to move somewhere else, it'll pull up one distance.
Yeah.
But if you need to pull all the way up to like where it's going to park at, it's going to raise up to change your bit, right? That's the Z clearance. That's not the clearance one. What is that one? Bring it up, Kate.
So here under set.
So go back. I brought you up too late for people to see set.
Oh, okay. So I'm over here in the toolpath functions, and let me close this so we can go back and I can show you. So right here under material
flashing
setup
right now. Yeah, you're flashing on my screen right now. Do me a favor, Kate. Just
yes.
switch solidly over to toolpath.
Okay.
Don't use the pull out tab. There we go. That's still flashing pretty bad.
Oh, I hate that.
Yeah.
Over here under the material setup, can you see that okay? Where I'm at
Yes,
the very
it's
top
flashing
under
on my
toolpath.
screen. At the very top, it says there's a button that says set.
Yep. So I'm going to go ahead and click that. Let me know when that pops up.
It's there. It's flashing pretty bad, but it's there.
Okay. Does that help
There we go.
any at all?
It's back. It's back now.
Okay. Very good.
But
Okay. So,
the bottom is flashing.
oh, I
Just where
know.
you
It's,
don't want it to flash.
I know it's flashing on my screen too. It's like, just stop. Hold still. Oh, wait, we're slowing. Nope. We're ramping back up. Okay. This is terrible. Okay, so on down here on your rapid Z governments above the material is
All the way
this is
down to the bottom.
yeah, this home start position down here. Oh, oh, God bless. It's just
Remember,
flashing.
your screen is small, so people may not, when you say down here, may not
The very
see
very
this.
bottom of the set material. Um, so Garrett, do you want to talk about
No,
this?
go
You
ahead.
want Okay, so we were talking about this home in this start position, and this Z gap above the material on the very bottom is where you want to set your clearance. So when it comes out of the material, it will raise back up a certain amount. Um, so that way you can change your bit. But what I've noticed, I don't know what type of machine you have. I'm gonna minimize, or I'm gonna stop sharing this if you don't mind.
Okay.
Um, because it's just super duper distracting. Um, so we were talking about this, like if you're doing like catch-all trays or something like that, you want those Z movements to come back up, and then because when it's finished, you don't want it to just raise up a little bit and then slice through your bowl. So you want to make that Z height. If your material is a half an inch, I would just do an inch or even more. So then that way, when it pulls up out of the material, you have the Z height plus the length of the bit, so it doesn't run into your project.
Mm. Yeah, and he
Um,
wants to change the bit. That number that Kate just showed, that Z, what was you got the Z clearance and the other one,
the Z
um,
clearance and then the Z height.
the Z height. I believe it's Z height. The That number is what's getting pulled into your software to
Yeah.
so when it finishes its run on that G code and it pulls up for a tool change, you can set that Z height to 2 inches,
Hmm.
and that's what will plug into the code. So the post processor is not what's necessarily setting that Z height. If it is, then the writers of that post, the company that wrote the post, has set that in there as a mandate to be put into the G code. Right? You can edit the post processor, but you need a post processor editor. It's pretty easy to edit. But
Okay.
where Kate was talking about, where she was showing you, that's where you want to set it up. Go to your toolpath side, hit the set button down at the bottom, hit that Z, fix that Z clearance. Not the Z clearance, the Z height dimension.
Yes. The yeah, Z height. All right. Looks like we
I
got a little
can't
more.
show you on my computer because I don't have it. I'm talking on my cell phone.
Yeah, and it's so that's what I was saying, guys. That's why I kind of prefaced in the very beginning of this, conversation that he hosts this, and I just kind of like join in on his link. So he has a lot, like when he does it on his end on StreamYard, it's a lot more fluent. And because I'm kind of like a co-host, when I do it, I get like a really lot of like chatter and or noise that comes up as you're seeing. And so it's just a lot harder for me to use the Vectric. It's not that I don't want to show you and I don't want to answer the questions. It's just that's what we get when I try to do it, and there's just no good way to get around that. So it's a little hard.
Got a
Uh,
question for you, Kate, from Tim Adams.
all right. Hey, Tim. All right, he says, my better half walks past this chunk of aluminum, so I'm trying to get her to join your Facebook community and start learning how to not look at it as some complex machine. Tim, I love you, brother. That's so fantastic that you want your wife to join, or your girlfriend, or however she is in your life. I think that's fantastic that you want her to learn as well. Um, I'm going to tell you what I said here just a little while ago. The software, if she has any type of design experience, if she has a Cricut or if she has a Silhouette or a vinyl cutter, she's already designing she's already pulling files. If she's using them from Etsy, she's pulling them into some type of design software. She could easily pick up Vectric very, very easily. And I'm assuming that you already have it. So, you could even have her play with it in the evenings and kind of get used to it a little bit. I think it's really great. And yes, absolutely. Tell her to come join our community. She does not have to be active. She can just kind of look at the post. We have a general chat on Facebook Messenger where she can just ask open-ended questions and one of us will respond. Um, but I mean, you're right there with her. So, you can walk alongside her with the CNC journey and teach her a little bit about it. When I started, when I met Garrett, I didn't know anything about a CNC machine. I had a vinyl cutter, I had a Cricut. So I saw the software and I thought, okay, I know how to do this the design work. That's not the complicated process. It was the tooling. But the biggest thing for me was getting that tool database downloaded, because in my mind, like Garrett said earlier, I was afraid of success with this machine, but it was the tools. I was like, how fast does this tool need to run? What is the chip load? I didn't know what I didn't know. There were so many complexities in the tooling. But once I figured it out and I was like, oh, it's just a profile and it's just a pocket and a V carve and learned how to do them over time, I felt like an old pro in no time. Yes, we all have major learning curves, but that's okay. I mean, you're right there. You already have taken the chip off the old shoulder for her. You've already started chiseling away at some of those problems. So you don't have to go through that. You can just say, this is how we do this. This is how this works. Get her more involved in the creative side of designing. What do women want? What are the signs women want? And then she can start helping you design things and you guys can work together as a team. My husband and I love to build things together. So, like, my big thing right now is I'm like hell bent on doing everything and anything with epoxy. So I'm like, all right, what kind of legs do I need to put on this? And, you know, all kinds of fun stuff. So there's lots of really great ways to get your wife or your better half involved. All right. Let's see. Sorry for that little soapbox, but I just get so excited when women want to do this. I love it. It's my jam. All right, let's see. Okay, so Gary is back here. He says that question was longer than 200 characters and it wouldn't let me post it. Scroll down to me again for the rest of the question. Okay.
Okay.
Let's see here. Where is Mr. Gary? We got a lot of things in here.
Okay, while you're looking, I'm gonna answer Adam's question.
Yeah, go
And
ahead.
this comes up a lot, right? When people are surfacing the material and they with the surfacing bit and they get burn marks, right? The most common, well, the reason why surfacing bits burn the material is because the velocity outside of the edge of the bit is much faster than the rotational velocity. And so that is rubbing by so fast multiple times that it heats up the wood quite quickly. So the ways to reduce and eliminate the burning is by turning your spindle speed down. And if it's burning at the speed that you're running at, which is, I'm assuming you're running at the recommended, I believe it's 11,000, 10,000. Slow it down by 1,000, slow it down by 2,000. The other thing to do after that is to increase the feed rate. But your spindle speed is the first thing that needs to come down. It's just the bit is moving too fast. That's a very common thing I see with surfacing bits, whether it's IDC or anybody else's surfacing bits.
Okay.
So.
I had not seen that question in there.
Okay.
Okay, so you got that one answered. Okay, so we have a really great question here from Dean. He says, "What's the advantage of running a spindle over a router, if any?" I'll let you take this because you have both.
Okay. Well, trim router uh, is manual, right? It has an on-off switch right on the machine. That's the first difference. Typically, the trim router is what most of the CNC router companies like to use, and that the trim router, the horsepower is not necessarily as high as you want it to be, and there's no accurate way of knowing exactly how fast it's turning. Not that it's super critical. If you know that the number one, number two, number three on the dial is going to give you an approximate spindle speed, then you can kind of relate that. But you can't be totally sure. A spindle, on the other hand, can run at a much it can be built with more horsepower in a smaller package, and the same size package, I guess. And also you have control of exactly how fast it's running, and the software will turn the spindle on and off as opposed to you having to turn it on and off. The G code, the post processor will write in the M6 code and M5, I believe those are the two that turn the spindle on and off. And so you don't have to fiddle with feeds and speeds. It's going to extract that data directly from the tool database.
Yep.
What else? What else? Spindles tend to have better life than the routers as well. Right?
Yeah.
They're built with better precision, so they have more accuracy. Not that it really matters in CNC routers. If you got loose bearings in a CNC router, you know it. It's just cutting like crap anyway. But it's much tighter, and they will last you a lot longer.
Yeah, I would agree. Plus, it's more power.
Yeah, more power.
Lots more
The
power.
only downside is they're a little bit heavier.
Yeah. All right. So Kenny has a great question. He says, "What do you think about the Auto Zero touch plate? Is it
That's
Science?
that's CNC. That's from Long Mill.
Oh, okay.
It's pronounced CNC. So it's Long Mill, the company that builds this Long Mill CNC router. They have named their company CNC Labs, but it's spelled
Okay.
SEINCI, something like that. You
Yeah.
look at it and you think it's sciencey.
Yeah, it's like it's sciencey, but CNC. I'm not. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. The Auto Zero touch plate is a touch plate that enables you to get your XYZ zero or XY zero and Z, if you set it that way, to be set with a V bit or ball nose. When you're setting your zero with a corner plate, you have to use a straight shank bit to set that. And if you're going to be cutting with a V bit, then you have to set it with a straight shank first, and then you have to change out the bit to a V bit, and then reset your Z. The Auto Zero touch plate by Long Mill enables you to zero out with a V bit or a ball nose as well as a straight shank bit. So what's the basis of the question? Because I didn't see it.
He just was asking your opinion. What do you think of the Auto Zero touch plate?
I like its convenience for the fact that you can zero out with V bits and odd shaped bits that you can't do with the corner bit with a corner plate.
Okay.
So should you get it? That's up to you. If you so the difference is about $40. The Auto Zero is more expensive.
Okay.
It can only be used with the G Sender software. So if you're using a different control software for your CNC router, the Auto Zero won't work because it's built by CNC Labs and the functionality for it is in the G Sender control software.
Good to know.
Yeah.
Good to know. That's a great explanation. So hopefully that helps you out, Kenny. All right. Let's see. Jerry's got a great question here. He says he's from hot and humid Florida. Do you see the question? There we go. Says, when cutting out a piece, I notice I'm spending a lot of time cleaning up edge marks from the bit. How can I limit how much cleanup I need to do? So I'm assuming you're talking about the witness marks on the edge of your project. Um, you know, I'm having a brain
Okay.
flip
So
here for a moment on the witness
yeah,
marks.
yeah.
I,
So when go ahead, were you gonna say something?
no, I'm thinking, I'm seeing the witness marks. I'm like, I know what to do, but my brain is not, it's not giving me the information. It's not giving
I
me
got
the
you. I
information.
got you. Yeah,
As I
the
need my co-host to
edge.
pick up this question.
Right. Okay. Well, there's two potential issues going on here. One is when you're cutting out a piece. So I'm assuming that's a profile cut, right? And um, you're getting edge marks. So that's telling me it's getting tear out. Now, this is the first one. The other one is if you're doing a pocket and you're getting little, like different depths in your pocket, even though you didn't set it up for that. So if you're doing a cutout, a profile, and you're getting the edge marks, um, that may be like the dwell mark. Okay, when the bit comes down and then it starts to move, that bit
Yeah.
coming down, it's sitting still for just a moment, and it's allowing it to put a little cusp in that area where it went in. That could be an edge mark that you're talking about. And the way to avoid that is by ramping into your project. The second
Yeah.
thing, tear out. If you're getting tear out on the top or the bottom, that's because you're using, if you're getting tear out on the top, you're using an upcutting end mill or a straight cutting bit. And that's going to cause tear out. That's going to rip the corner of the cut.
Yeah.
If you're
Especially
getting
in
tear,
birch.
okay. Speaking of birch, boy, did I see some nice birch today at the show. Because there's lumber companies here too.
Ooh.
Yeah, so it's German birch. What I don't know what that means, but it's nice looking wood. I wanted to walk away with a couple of pieces. Um,
Nice.
so let's see what else. If you're using a down cutter and you're trying to cut something out, then you're going to get tear out at the bottom, right?
Yep.
And that's what a compression bit is for when you're doing
That's
your
what I was just
cutout.
going to say.
The compression bit has an up cut and a down cut, and it'll leave clean cuts. Now, if you're talking about a pocket cut, where you're, let's say you're doing a stacked text sign and you're actually cutting pockets around the stacked text, and this is a common problem many people run into. They don't understand what's going on, and I don't think this relates to your question, but I'm going to answer this anyway. When you're doing a pocket cut and you're doing um, cutting out text, we're gonna have to knock this off here soon, Kate, because we're past the hour and a half, by the way, and I got
I
a
see that.
dinner. Yeah, I got dinner meeting with Kyle. Okay,
Oh, very
so I'll have to make this the last question. Um, if you're doing what stack text, and you'll notice that you're getting like lines around the stack text, like you're getting a deeper groove around it. That's because I did a video on this. I had to explain it, and it's kind of a lengthy explanation, but it's because when you're doing this pocket cutout, the router bit is taking a big chunk of material at a certain depth. It's doing a certain step over, and if you, let's just say you're using a down cut to do that, the mechanics of the router bit are trying to push the router bit upward, but the wood is moving, like being compressed slightly, just because the force of the down bit. It's a corkscrew that's in reverse. It wants to get out of there. And then when you're at the final cuts and you're cutting around the letters, and all of a sudden everything is much steeper, it's because there's no pressure left. And so there's nothing to push the router bit up or the wood down. Uh, it, the name of the video is The Science of Down Bits.
That is a very good video. Yeah, it explains it. I know what I was going to say. So for like the witness marks, like you're doing a profile cut and you're, if you're, let's say it's 3/4 inch and you're taking 3 passes down all the way down and you're getting those like witness marks all the way around the edge of it. And so it looks like you've got like stacked lines on the edge of it. What I like to do in my projects is I will actually take, um, I'll do a separate profile pass, and I'll just go the full depth in one pass, and I'll just do it all the way around, and then that way that just kind of cleans it up a little bit, and then that way you don't have all those tool marks, and then you're not trying to sand them out of your piece. That's personally what I do.
Yeah.
So, and you can also do a finish last pass as well. You could lower your piece down if you're working with like a solid hardwood, or you feel like, so like, especially with MDF leaves that little onion skin that everybody hates. You always have to sand it off on everything you do. In your edit passes, you can do a separate last pass, and that will allow you to go just a little bit deeper and clean up that edge a little bit further. Now you may have some marks in your spoil board, so you're going to have to factor that in, but it's usually, I mean, you're talking like, 2-3 tenths of an inch, so it's not going to be, anything super significant, but that does help as well with the cleanup on the edges.
Yep. Okay, brothers and sisters, CNC creators, we are 10 minutes past the hour and a half, and I'm going to be calling Kyle Ely, the guy who did the Vectric course. He is here in Las Vegas as well, so he and I are going to go out to dinner. So I have to check out.
All right.
Well, it's been fun. Another Wednesday night.
Yes. Sorry we didn't get to a lot of questions. I see we have a lot more questions going on.
Yeah, quite a few.
Yeah, I do see some. I just wanted to make a quick note. Ron C., he said, my question got removed. I don't know that it, I mean, we don't have the power to remove questions, so I'm not sure what happened. You guys are funny. I hear a cricket. Might, yes.
The only options I have here, I can't remove a particular comment as far as I know. I can star comment, I can put user in timeout, and I can block
Oh
user
boy.
and delete all their comments. Yeah, but I did none of the above. If I did, it was totally by accident.
Well, I'm sorry, Ron. We'll try to look for your question afterwards.
Bring it next time.
Yes.
But we missed a lot tonight, so we're getting a little bit deeper in our explanations. We'll try to. Kate and I are trying to find a good rhythm here. We're finding it. But okay, with that, hope you all have a great evening. Happy CNCing.
Yes.
And we'll talk to you next week.
See you guys.